Hey, welcome back to the Positive Side Podcast. Glad you're tuning in. And that's right, it's the positive side. We are looking at the positive side of everything, but sometimes in life it throws you a curveball. And I've done a lot of episodes on depression, some of the things that I fight with. And I had a recent listener reach out, and I want to share her message. Obviously, I'm not going to share her name. And obviously, real quick, I'm no doctor, I'm no psychologist, I'm no psychiatrist. I'm just a normal guy that thinks that depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts should be talked about. I mean, it's one of those taboo things. Like before I talk about it, I even have to like I feel like I have to say that before I talk about it. Which again, I think it's part of the stigma with talking about that and having these open conversations. But again, obviously, I'm not going to share her name and get into it with specific details. But I want to share the message, and I want to respond back to her through this podcast because I think that's important. I also think it's important to share this message because she's so brave and so powerful to reach out that I think a lot of people are also thinking these exact same things. So let's get into it. Episode June 28th, and that was a few weeks ago when I had a buddy pass away from suicide, and it was difficult to do the episode, but again, it's what I feel is I'm being pulled to that mission to really talk about this and bring it to the forefront in a time where a lot of people are really struggling with it. I battled depression and anxiety for so many years. The lows are awful. I've been suicidal. I've checked myself in the hospital because I was afraid I'd hurt myself. I come up with several ways to end my life that I'm pain free, quote unquote, pain free, because I hate pain. Boy, so do I. uh, I'm in a very dark place right now. I sleep sometimes 12 to 14 hours a day so that I don't have to feel anything. My husband doesn't want to bother asking me how I am anymore. He takes care of everything in and out of the house. But real quick, that's such a blessing, right? I mean, I know that you put that in here, and I don't want to glance over that because having someone like that to help, and maybe he doesn't know what to say, maybe he's just as scared, maybe is going through a lot of things himself. Because again, not to be to divert this conversation, but it's not depression and anxiety also affects the people around you. It's not just the person that's going through it; it affects everybody. This shit's real. Um, Again, my husband doesn't bother asking me how I am anymore. He takes care of everything in and out of the house. That's his way of caring for me. I'm just so damn tired of feeling this way. I try not to let myself cry for more than a few minutes because I'm afraid I just won't stop. I'm under the care of a psychiatrist, and today I have my first appointment with him in over a year. I mean, again, it gives me chills because that's so powerful and so brave in reaching out to get the help. I mean, again, it's not going to change everything right away. And let's be real about this. When you meet someone for the first time, it's not going to like flip a switch where all of a sudden, oh, okay, now I'm not depressed anymore. It's going to take time, but like I talk all the time, getting out of your comfort zone, you got to take that first step in order to take the second step. So again, congratulations to you to doing this. Over a year, I came up with excuses all this time. I don't even want to talk to him about anything. Excuse me. I'm on meds that obviously aren't helping like they once had. Maybe an adjustment or a change is needed now. I just know that I can't go on like this anymore. I'm glad I found your podcast. Gonna binge listen today. Man, I mean, again, this message, unfortunately, isn't common. Um, Excuse me. Unfortunately, this isn't uncommon. But what I think is also uncommon is the power and the strength this person has, to reach out, to understand that I'm at my end, and there's so many people out there listening to this podcast now that have the same feeling. And again, hey, I've been there, and I put it in the book, and when what my thoughts and concerns are about depression and what I struggle with and some of the things I've been through. Um, and again, I'm not looking to try and change and give advice because I don't. uh, It's not my journey, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or an asshole about it, but it's something that we all individually have to work our way through. Uh, the only thing that comes in my mind when I read that and I think about it, talk about it, is just making it through the next day, making it through today. Excuse me, making it through today. Looking at the simple things in life, looking at the sun, looking at a butterfly, looking at a bird, looking at our family members, looking at the clouds in the sky, and just imagine how beautiful these things are. Because when we can focus on one thing that's not ourselves and not our situation, sometimes it lightens the load and it kicks those chemicals off in our brain that just give us a little bit of a break. And if we can focus on getting through that day and focus through getting through lunch and waking up early, trying to get up early, trying to go for a walk. This time of year, it's beautiful. It's sunny out. It's warmer. And I know this message will resonate with people throughout the fall and throughout the winter, but it's the same thing. You pick your season. You can focus on the gray and the cloudiness, or we can focus on the beautiful of fall, or the end of this season coming and winter coming and beautiful spring coming in a few months. There's so many things we can focus on. But again, I share this message because I get these quite a bit. And this one really resonated with me. So thank you. Number one, thank you for sharing the message with me. And I know your message, and I know you are going to make a difference in this world. And I'm sure you already have, because when we get depressed and we get in our own way, we forget about that, right? We forget about all the wins. We forget about the magical things we've done in our lives as a child, as a friend, as a husband, wife, brother, sister, cousin. That we were there for people that needed us in certain times, and we may not even realize it. But I think if we really think about it, we can actually dial back and say, you know what, I'm glad I was there for this person. And this is a time in my life where I was really, really strong. I want to get back to that. There's also a great exercise I have with a lot of my clients is I encourage them to write a letter to themselves. We write letters to ourselves at good times and bad times. And I think the bad times, what allows us to do is really just to puke it out on paper. Allows us to process this information in our own head and in our own way, right? I mean, it's important that way as well. But also, I think what happens is when times start getting better, and they will 100% will. And I know you may feel like whoever you are listening to this podcast, I'm not talking about the person that wrote the letter, which again, it's important, but everybody listening to this podcast, that things will get better. It may, and again, I don't know what your time frame is. I don't know what your journey is, but I can promise you long term, a year from now, 10 years from now, you'll be glad that you not glad you went through this, but you're glad that you never gave up. And when you write this letter, if I could circle back to it, you can read back and say, this is where I was. This is how far I've come. The exercise does several things. It again allows you to get through it, but it also allows down in the future, like, wow, this is how powerful I am. This is how much strength I have. This is what makes me so special. And then we all have it in us. We all have that special, that grit, that grind. But man, I get it. Sometimes it's buried under dirt of emotions and trauma and depression, anxiety, that we just don't want to keep going. But I promise you, this world is better with you. I don't know what your journey is. I don't know what your mission is. I don't know when your time of greatness will come. But I know if you don't give it a chance, it never will. So I hope this message resonates with you. I hope you can share this with somebody. And again, you can always send the emails out. I love talking about it. I love bringing these conversations to the forefront. And it's kind of cool with the podcast with not mentioning the names, because number one, you can hear your message was actually heard, right? I mean, someone actually gives a shit, and I do. But I think the more powerful thing is to other people are going through the same thing. And when they see how powerful you are to share your message and to put yourself out there like that, it gives them strength and gives them hope. It gives you hope because you are changing lives as well. So, continue to send those messages, jeremy@jeremytodd.com. Hey, no easy way to transition this, but one way that helps people find the show is through those 5-star reviews. If you can to iTunes, leave that 5-star review. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that'd be great. And you can always run over to Amazon and grab that book. It's an easy read. It's 87 pages or something like that, 88 pages. It's very, very quick, very easy read. And again, it just shows the vulnerability that we're all in it together. We're all trying to get better. And I'm with you for sure. I also do coaching one-on-one. I'm not a counselor, I'm a coach. I like to help people work on their mindset and really have someone to lean on. If that's an option for you as well, reach out at jeremy@jeremytodd.com. Let's see if we can do a 30-minute power call. I also help people do podcasts, all kinds of things we can do. But more importantly, I'm just glad you're tuning into the show. Like always, you got questions, email me. Again, jeremy@jeremytodd.com or jeremytodd.com. But like I say in every single episode, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, especially this episode, you've got greatness within. Like always, this is The Positive Side.